Collins Green pit was just over the back there.
Right.
And obviously they had a brick-making yard there.
Right, okay.
And most of the offices then, or most of the stuff at Bow would have been built with them bricks.
I see. Right, okay.
But
Right.
there's people collect them, you know, old miners collect them from different collieries and everything like that.
Okay. Yeah, well, I've been over that landfill place, Lee Green.
Yeah.
Because was that where the colliery used to be?
No, it was
Right,
over the road.
okay, right.
Where the housing estate is.
Ah, right.
When you go back of the shops, there is a round circle.
Yeah.
There's nothing marking it, but I think that's where one of the shafts was.
Right, I see.
So yeah, the colliery was on Lee Green Road.
Right.
Rather than that was Rough Dales. That was the brick making place.
Right. Well, I thought that because there's loads of bricks over there, isn't there, when you go over?
Yeah. So do you want to start at the gates and I can tell you
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah. Sorry. Try to do this so I can log where I've been.
Yeah.
Sometimes easier.
That wise. So all the houses, old houses that side of Sutton Manor, was all pit houses.
Right, yeah.
Majority on Tennyson Street and where have you, 2 bedrooms. There's a couple of 3 bedrooms as such. I grew up in Tennyson Street, and then when I was 11 we moved to Forest Road, a bigger house. But I think it was around about 1969 when they put bathrooms on the back of them. So they all had an extension bathroom on. But they had a sort of a, what do you call it? Again, the pit there was a land sales where they sold the coal, but there was also an estates office. So you could go there if your toilet were blocked, if you had a leak, if you had a slate missing. They had bricklayers, they had joiners, they had everything from there, and you just went and basically told them number 52 was, you know, and they'd come out to replace the window, so everything was done from an estate office, which was just further down the road here. As you walk through the gates, so looking at...
So this was where the gates were?
This was where the gates was,
yeah.
As you walk through the gates, canteen were there.
Yeah.
And then behind the canteen with the union office. Sick bay were there, or sick bay, I'm going back to my Navy days. The first aid place was there. And again, when I was a kid, we didn't have plasters in the house. You know, if you fell over and cut your leg, your dad would bring you here and they'd have a look at it and decide whether they could do something. So there was a nurse there 24 hours a day.
Wow.
So from that, you went past the first aid, turned in, and your clean side was there, so that's where you got changed out to your normal gear. Walked across the baths then, or the showers, so you walked through them, and the dirty side was there.
Okay.
So that was all on this side here.
Yeah.
If we walk up a little bit, the lamp room was over there, so where they are going through on bikes now.
Yeah.
So your lamp room was there, that was where you went and got your lamp and your tallies. And then obviously the shafts are just on the side. The manager's office was near the shafts, so you couldn't sneak up pit early. But,
so the shafts are pretty close to the front, yeah.
And just behind, obviously, the canteen here, you had the big chimney.
Yeah.
So there was 2 originally.
Okay.
So on some photos you'll see 2 chimneys, and that chimney was around about that far away from the wall.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And was that for a furnace or?
Yeah. So steam winders and what have you. So the steam and furnace too. sort of steam basically. So there was 2 chimneys. They took one down, and then they reduced the height of the other one later on. So canteen, you went into deployment there, got your lamp and your tallies. So your tallies basically was hung up on a board telling you which district you was working in or which part of the pit you were working in. So, you know, you'd know how many men was in that district then, how many was working in that area.
Yeah.
So you picked them up, and then you walked over to the shafts, which is just here. There was a couple of other buildings. Further back down there you would have the fitting shop and electrical shop. Then there was another shop further up the thingy, but if you walk through here, you can see where the shafts are.
So, one thing I couldn't fathom was why at Bold have they got caps on him and here? So I assume these like tubes coming out of the ground.
Yeah.
That's where the shafts were.
Yeah.
So why have they got tubes coming out the ground? And
at Bold they haven't.
Yeah.
Sutton Manor was a very gassy pit.
Right.
So I'm not saying this is the only reason for it, because there probably will be some methane extraction or methane sampling places at Bold.
Yeah.
But basically, Sutton Manor was a gassy pit. We used to sell our gas that they brought up pit to ICI.
Ah, right.
So around the back there, what used to be, you can get all the way through to Widnes.
Yeah.
You know, the cycleway.
Yeah.
That used to be the original railway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the latter years of the pit, they put pipes all the way to Widnes, and we used to pump gas and sell it to ICI. So this was number 1 shaft.
So is that something that is still carried on today, or are these just kind of redundant?
No, they're redundant. I mean, every now and again you may get somebody come up and do a testing, or see whether there's anything there. But I've never seen anybody come and I've never seen anybody open the gates. But that will have been there originally just to, what they call it, make sure that there was no escape.
Yeah. So this is one.
Yeah.
And Stuart mentioned about, he was saying that there's like on the Bowl ones there's like a concrete disc. So is this like a concrete kind of platform?
Yeah, this will be a concrete platform. We are looking at whether we put some benches on it and that, because there's a couple of lads' ashes scattered up.
Right.
This is a concrete. The shaft was 18-foot diameter, but it was a round shaft.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had 2 cages, 2 on each side basically. You could get 28 men in each cage.
Yeah.
In each deck basically, so 56 going down.
Wow, yeah.
Or 56 coming up. But you were squashed face to face.
Yeah.
Nice on a Monday morning when somebody's been on the air, things like that. But yeah, you was squashed face to face, and when you were coming out, you always tried to get on the upper deck.
Yeah.
Because they used to pour, whatever water they had left in the bottle down, and it would come down on top of you. You know what I mean? But yeah. So originally this used to wind Manor material.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then towards the latter years, when they got rid of the steam winding and brought in what they call, when I say got rid of the steam winding, they brought in an electric winder. So
right.
Basically they changed this so this wound coal. So they had a continuous belt that came out and filled an hopper.
Right.
And basically as soon as that was full, it was on a weight limit switch. As soon as it was full, it would shoot up.
Right.
And the other would come down, and that side would get filled. And
right.
So the problem with every pit is you could cut coal quicker than you could get it up pit. Because obviously there's only one.
Yeah. Way of getting it out.
Way of getting it out, and even with drift mines, they still have the problems. You know what I mean? But as I say, so
was that then used just for men going in and down?
That was men material, yeah.
Right.
For whatever, they wouldn't stop coaling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They would try and keep this running 24/7.
Yeah.
To get that coal up pit. Underground used to have a big bunker that the belts would come out with the coal, and fill into a bunker, and this bunker was on rails, so it would fill up, and there'd be a man there, and they'd push it back as it filled it, and push it back as it filled it, and then when they was winding coal fast, then he would be there releasing it onto another belt so they could get to. So somebody used to have a job, and you know what I mean, basically, so you could carry on cutting coal in the far end, and bunker it rather than having to, you know what I mean, if you couldn't get it up.
I see. Right, okay. So there was just like some kind of storage.
Yeah.
And how deep was this? Do you know, Jim?
I think it worked out at 1,243 feet.
Right.
You have to check that for thingy, but they reckon 4 times Blackpool Tower.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Underground. It went fast when they was winding coal. That's for sure.
That's crazy. Wow. And so that is 2 then.
So that's 2, yeah.
And there was only 2.
Yeah, there was only 2.
Yeah.
I mean, there is indications that originally there may have been another one, but you know, when it was first being sunk. But I've not seen any indication of it. I never know where it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So originally, when we was just winding boxes of coal, or coal on, you know, tubs basically.
Yeah.
They used to come up here. So 2 in each deck. So 4 boxes would be coming up as 4 empties were going down.
And how frequent was that?
Well, what they call it, you know, I mean, probably a minute and a half, 2 minutes before what they call.
Right.
You know
okay.
I mean?
So it's
so as soon as that one reaches the top, the other ones at the bottom. You know what I mean? They are quite quick. I mean, you can find out what speed they wound coal. It was faster than men, so you could wind coal faster than, and you can find out. I'll try and find it if you need it as such. But I made a mistake once. I worked at pit bottom for a short period of time, and what they used to do at snap time, they used to stop coaling at snap time.
Right.
So my job at pit bottom, well, he was on a circuit, so basically they brought these, coal came out on a belt and filled the tubs.
Yeah.
And they'd have a journey of tubs, and the journey would come down to the airlock. So there had to be an airlock between 2 and 1.
Right.
Because obviously air went down one way and was circulated around and come up the other.
Yeah.
So you'd have an airlock, and you'd have to split your tubs into forwards basically. So 4 tubs would go into the airlock. So you'd have somebody unhooking them while they was moving. So they was basically, and they'd get 4 in an airlock. Then they'd let the airlock up, and 2 would go down one side and 2 would go down the other.
Right.
So basically to fill the decks.
Okay.
So what was he on about? So this one time they wasn't stopping coaling for snap time. So
Sorry, snap time.
Snap time is when you usually around about 10:30 where you stop.
Okay.
And have your sandwiches.
Right. Right. Okay.
But we're working at pit bottom. Canteen was only there.
Yeah.
Plus the shaft. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
They used to stop coaling, but the winder would let you go up.
Right.
So somebody would be nominated. Right, you're going up, and they'd have a list. And you'd go and get snap and bring it back down for whoever was working at pit bottom. And this one day it was my turn, but they turned around and said they wasn't stopping coaling because we was bunker were full and they were still cutting yet. They needed to keep coaling through snap time. So the onsetter says to me, what they call it, right, you're going on top of coal. So he let the winder know that I was on top. I swear eagled on top of box.
Wow.
And it went up. I'd have got sacked if I got caught.
Yeah.
But it went up. I went and got the snap all down my shirt and then come down in an empty box. Well, I come down in the empty box and then was rammed out the cage and what have you. And
so why do you think they did that then?
Well, it was illegal to do it, but they wanted to snap at pit bottom.
Yeah.
So, what do you call it? Right, you're going up that thingy. So I said, all right, and I shouldn't have done, but as I say, if manager or anybody had seen me, they'd want the car. I mean, there was gates on, but they're only a little bit of wire, chicken wire, and what the car. But, so.
And so they're quite close as well, and so this, so you would walk up something to get to the top, or where was the lift? Was it kind of like at
No,
floor
it's
height?
floor level.
Was
floor
it?
level, yeah.
Right.
So you'd walk in, as I said, if it was number 2 or wherever, you'd have to go through an airlock.
Yeah.
Number 1, it was, so that was your downcast, this was your upcast.
Right.
So the fans to draw the air was situated on number 2.
Right.
So basically, they'd draw the air round. So if you're going into number 2, you'd have to basically open an airlock, and you'd
Right.
have a big bar, and you'd sort of have to get your feet on them.
So is that to just maintain the levels of ventilation then?
And gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So what they call the air's going down,
Yeah.
cleaning
and
and,
the gases.
dispersing any gases.
Yeah.
And there have been times when we've turned up at pits and they won't let you down
Because the
because
gas.
there's too much gas.
Too much gas.
Atmosphere drops, so air pressure drops, and they'd have a barometer in the thing. And
Right.
at that time you'd know whether, or they'd know because they'd be testing.
Yeah.
That, and you'd be sat around waiting until they got rid of that pocket of gas.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because that was Stuart mentioned. It was the first
Right.
time he mentioned about ventilation, and it was not something kind of I'd really hadn't given much thought to
in the
before.
return, most of the roadways which were maintained well
Yeah.
would be your intake roadways.
Yeah.
So the local train that took you to wherever you were working or to the far end, and then you had to walk, but that would go the intake.
Yeah.
Right. The return roadway wasn't maintained as good,
Yeah.
but it had to be there to get out, and quite often if you walk the return it'd be pitch black, whereas the intake
Right.
would have a bit of lightage on
Yeah.
it. But there was a set of booster fans in the return roadway, so these fans was inside an airlock,
Yeah.
and they would boost, drawing the air out of the pits.
Right. Yeah.
And as I say, you could get there, and if you was on your own you would struggle to open the doors.
Right.
It was that
Yeah,
what
it
they
was-
call. And as I say, if you're coming through number 2 here, you open the door and you feel it.
Yeah.
The air pull, like you was jumping out of a plane.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
What they call
Wow.
that much air.
Yeah.
So your number 2 had two sets of airlocks to basically, but you could still, you could walk from here to there
Yeah.
through a little tunnel as such,
Right.
or you could go around the circuit to which the tubs went.
So this was all covered.
Oh well, yeah, it'd be covered. It probably was about 18 foot, 20 foot high,
Right.
because at some points they'd have to sling stuff down the pit. So
Okay.
when they were slinging, they'd take the cages off to a certain degree, or they'd sling underneath the cage.
Yeah.
So anything that was too big to go in a cage, they would sling underneath.
Right.
So it'd be like a big garage door
Yeah.
that they could open up. Most of the time it was just a small door where you'd go through.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it would be a great big, and then your steel headgear
Yeah.
would be built over that.
Right.
So the box where you would go down pits, or where the hole was, would be built round the girders, if you see what I mean.
Okay.
Round the airframe of the wheels on top, and then your rope would go to your winding house, which would be there.
Right.
So in between now and obviously the road's not that far away,
Yeah.
you'd have the big brick building that your wires are coming out of,
Yeah.
and your engine room,
Right,
or your what they call it.
So it went that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now if you go to Housley on a Sunday,
Yeah.
they've got a machine there
Yeah.
that would be similar to the one that they had at Manor,
Yeah.
and they run it off
Ah,
compressed
okay.
air now.
Right.
But you can see the big pistons and the drum going round.
Wow,
The only
right.
thing is it's not got a cable on,
Right.
because they've still got the headgears, but there's no cable going across
To
the
it.
headgears.
Yeah. Right.
So there'll be 2 sets of headgears. The new headgears, if you see any photos with new headgears on, that was the electric winding that they put in,
Right.
and that was around about 4 years before the shutter.
Oh, okay.
So
Right.
it's,
So all of kind of that,
yeah.
was that all just like kind of waste dumping?
There was what they call screens there up there. So basically, screens would be where they would sort the coal. basically any rock, any what they call it, you know, so they grade the coal, salt it, screen wise, so that would all be up that way. And the methane plant, so that would be what was drawing the methane out, and those selling it in the latter years was over that way as well.
Right, okay.
Because as I say, it was only the latter years of the pit that they did start selling the methane to ICI.
Right. Yeah. So and so when I've been over Wooden Lime Pit, there's loads of like funny contraptions, like motorized things, kind of what seem like they're either monitoring what's coming out of the ground, or it's like capping what's coming out. Like I walked past one the other day.
Yeah, similar to that, but they'll be about that high.
Yeah.
They'll have numbers on them.
Yeah, like concrete.
Yeah. So that again is where they can come and do sampling.
Right.
Because what they call it, I mean, you've even got that over when you say you went over Roughdales, because that used to be a tip.
Yeah.
So they, you know, methane under there.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember even after the pit shut, where I said the railway went across through past Roughdales.
Yeah.
That tip used to catch fire, or be on fire underneath.
Right.
Because like combustion of the like shaly coal.
Yeah.
And you know, you might never put it out.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing. So like, obviously, you know, nothing was ever filled in, was it? So
I've got, if you want, I've got the NCB stature on them shutting the shafts.
Right.
I saw it on eBay.
Yeah.
And I thought I'll get that. It was like £2 or something like
wow.
that. But it tells you how much stuff they put in.
Yeah.
When they then took the electrics out, and it tells you the procedure from start to finish of them filling the shafts in.
Because anything could have happened down.
They would have put loads of rubbish down.
Rubble down, yeah.
But they probably, so far down, they would have put girders across the shaft probably.
Yeah.
To, you know what I mean? And then stuff on it, and then pump some cement or something there to make a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there will be legislation on how deep.
Of course, yeah.
But because a lot of this land, that's been now, some of it were brought from Trafford Centre.
Right.
So a lot of the hill and everything like that wasn't there.
Yeah, so
it wasn't there in the same format.
No, of course, yeah.
So they brought, when they was building the Trafford Centre, so I'm told, or somewhere up there, they used to lorry. I don't know how much, you know,
rubble and
stuff in, and you know, when you think of how big the site is, you know, one of them is just like a spadeful, isn't it? When you think about it,
of course, yeah.
You know what I mean, so it took them a long while to bring.
Yeah.
So around here, you probably won't find very much that is the pit.
Existed from the
the wall,
yeah,
and the cappings, and then over the other side there's an ad standing. I don't know whether you've been over that way. As you walk back from where the pond is, as you get, it's got quite a lot of graffiti around there.
Oh yeah.
So that used to be.
Right. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, that used to be where they used to bag the coal.
Right.
Many years ago.
How long have you got?
I've got as long as you. We can walk around there, not a problem.
I'll need to start to leave at about quarter to 5. Is that all right?
Yeah.
So, do you mind us going over there then?
No. I don't know if you have any photos from that way, but them two houses there, they're a little bit different. They were managers' houses.
Right, okay,
so
right.
A bit more.
Okay, brilliant. Well, should we go around that way? Yeah. Because I was looking at them the other day and I was thinking they look quite different.
Yeah, so they were managers' houses, and then as you go over the motorway, there's two houses to the left after Union Bank Lane.
Yeah.
Them again was management houses.
Could you get in from that side?
Or
could you want to get in from that?
Basically, that was the main gate. You could get through because the car park at the side of the smithy was usually where you parked if you was driving in, and you could get in along the main part there rather than going on the road.
Right, okay.
This used to be the stockyard, so this was basically where, you know, you'd have your rings, you'd have your timber, you'd have your chocks, anything, machinery, and then there used to be a box shop up there basically where they mended stuff, like, so there'd be a smithy up there and things like that. So they'd mend the boxes if there was any holes in them and things like that.
Right, okay.
So all this was stockyard really.
So, all where the Dream is now,
Yeah.
that was
Just a lagoon and
flat land.
Slag heap,
Yeah.
There was a lagoon over the back. I have got some photos. I'll have to dig them out as such that shows you an aerial view of it. So there's towards where the pond is.
Yeah.
There was a pond there.
Okay.
And that was like a scurry pond. So what that is, that's basically a settling pond. So they're pumping water out and they'd settle it.
Right.
To take all the oxide out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that'd be over the back. Here would be, as I say, your stockyard and everything. And then there used to be quite a bit of a slag heap going down to the smithy. Because we used to slide down there as kids, you know what I mean? So the smithy's just the back of here now.
Down.
Smithy Manor. The pub. I'll show you.
What pub, Jim? Oh, what the club? Where the club is? Right. Right. Yeah. Right.
So if you look at some photos, you can see. I mean, some photos with the cooling towers, you can see some of them where they got a wooden structure.
Yeah.
They were cooling towers basically, so they cool some of the
right.
from obviously the furnace or steam of producing the
that was near where the club is.
That was basically over here.
Right. Okay.
There was some like sliding tips near where the club is, and then there was a grabber here, like a rail coming out.
Yeah, I think I've seen that on some of the pictures. Yeah.
So that was basically to pick coal up to feed the furnace.
Right.
So a train had come along back in and they'd pick the coal up and feed the furnace with.
Right. I see.
You all right?
Hi, mate. Yeah, that was one place where I was wondering what went on with the concrete kind of slabs on the ground. The other thing I noticed the other week was these like metal kind of posts that come out to about like ankle height.
Yeah.
Do you know what they are? There's one over there.
Where they are now.
Yeah.
I'll probably be able to.
So it was.
So then these two houses, this N1 and that one.
Yeah.
They were managers' houses. Substation here.
Yeah.
So whenever there was a power cut, most of Sutton Manor didn't get that power cut.
Right.
Because there was a direct feed to pit.
Right.
So they had to have, or they had an emergency generator that they could basically, because obviously if Lecky went up, then they wouldn't be able to get any men.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody tells me that direct feed goes underneath the smithy, but I don't know whether that's true or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's a big cable that goes across.
I've noticed they're decommissioning that big substation at Lee Green.
Yeah.
Is that because of the power station?
No idea. Maybe. I hadn't even thought of that, but yeah, the power station, they look at knocking it down, aren't they?
And was there a direct feed from here to the power station?
I think so. That's what I've been told. And as I said, that substation there basically fed.
But was the coal coming down that line at the back to the power station?
At one time, yeah,
Was there?
and to Runcorn Docks.
Right.
So what time are we at? We've got time for a walk round, don't we?
Yeah.
Do the thing.
Yeah. So should we walk round? Up and round.
Come down the thing.
Yeah.
So when I worked down there, the latter 10 years, my granddad had worked down there. My granddad come from Wigan.
Yeah.
To Sutton Manor. My granddad worked down Manor, obviously at different levels, because there was probably, I think, about 5 different mouthings down the shaft.
Yeah.
Where they'd gone in, cut coal at that level.
Yeah.
Then they'd gone deeper.
Right.
Yeah. So there was different districts, and they were all sealed off when I went down there. Occasionally, you would get a fireman that would have to go around the old districts and make sure and test.
So was the tunnels going out, and then you're saying like there was one on top of the other?
Yeah. And the mouthings were still open, but some of the workings was basically shut off.
Right, I see.
I mean, basically, they'd exhausted the coal there.
Yeah.
So they'd then gone down to the next seam.
Right.
So it depends on. I mean, interesting. I started doing the National Mining Museum asked me to do a banner for them,
Yeah.
design a banner, and they wanted it to be an English coalfield. So I was looking at how you could depict English coalfield without just naming them like Lancashire coalfield or what.
Yeah.
And if you looked at different pits, all the seams were called with different names.
Yeah. So Stuart was telling me about Florida seam.
Yeah, Florida.
So would you, being here,
Yeah.
did you mine the same
We
seam?
did mine the Florida seam, yeah, and we had H24, H21s, but there was like Crumbrook, there was Plodder, so they'd all be given a name. Now some of them seams might be the same seams that was, mined in another
another
part of the country.
Right.
They just come through the, they've come through the country as such, but they'll be called a different name in different districts.
Yeah. Right.
So Havana is another one. Obviously Havana Pit. Florida, where did Florida come from? There was a Florida farm up near Parkside somewhere.
Right.
So was
okay,
that did that name come from there?
Right.
Wiggin 4 feet. So that was another seam. So a Wiggin 4 feet seam. So that's called Wiggin 4 feet because it's 4 feet high basically. But it probably come from Wiggin way.
Yeah.
So we met. Well, that's why you'll see like you had Bold over there.
Yeah.
You had Clockface. You had Sutton Manor, and then you have Conton.
Yeah.
And they're all on the same
seam.
seam.
Yeah.
But if you have a look at different names, I went on internet and had a thingy, and there's some weird names. What they call? There's one down Nottingham. It was called Minge. You think I'm working at Minge. But there's some weird names, and we was gonna use these names, but then they decided just to stick with the coalfields as such. So
right.
So they're just about to unveil it soon. So I've done the artwork on the English coalfields banner.
Yeah, because I looked at the underground mapping of Bold.
Yeah.
Just before they reopened it, so because it was functioning, wasn't it? And then by what I read, they'd closed it, and then they'd then gone down
there was
again.
A surgical that they needed, and they did it. Yeah.
So on these maps, it showed you the tunnels like one after the other.
Yeah.
But they span out a distance, don't they?
Yeah. Well, when we was mining, so my dad went down pit then I left school, and my dad said, "You're not going down." And I went in Navy. I came out of the Navy with a wife and a mortgage.
Yeah.
And that's where the money was. And I ended up going down pit for the last 10 years. So we was mining our coal under the power station. So if you look from the top of here, you see where the power station is.
We're
3 mile away.
My God, right, I didn't realise it was that distance. Wow.
At one time we got close to one of the towers, and they had to basically redirect the face off. Stop.
That's crazy. Oh, I didn't know that.
So if you missed that man rider that went in at 7:10, you were walking.
So how long did it take you to get down then?
So you're going down, they'd start winding at 10 to 7. The man rider would go in at I think it was 7:10, so it'd be full probably around 15-20 minutes. So it was like 3 mile.
Yeah.
I think it went 10-15 mile an hour if that. So then you got to the far end, and big tunnels, you get out there, and then there was loads of little districts from there.
Yeah.
So like at one time there was 2 faces running, so you'd have H21s and H.
So there was normally only really 2 faces running at any one time?
Yeah, I mean obviously the super pits, but what they call it had loads, but Sutton Manor, 2 faces running were good. Most of the time we had one, and then we were developing another.
Right.
So those were it's a good place here for when they're blowing down.
I know, it'd be amazing, won't it?
So if you missed the train,
that's crazy, isn't it?
you'd walk. and then you may have another mile and a half once you got off where you got divider stopped.
Yeah.
And that may be downhill.
Right.
So coming back out, there used to be a law that you couldn't start travelling till 2:15. Was it 2:15? Yeah, for your 3 o'clock. And sometimes you had to walk up a,
Right.
you know, like this, but probably steeper and longer.
Yeah.
To get to the top of the brew, where you would then go through the doors and whatever and get the man rider. But I mean, there was one guy that used to do a bit of rugby and whatever and play for Saints, and used to run out, and you'd be sleepers, and the sleepers would be too short for a step, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he'd be there like, it'd beat the rider out. But that's one of the things that, if you could get to that in the cage first,
Yeah.
and get up pits,
Yeah.
you know, that was everybody's goal. So people had, before the man rider had stopped at the pit bottom, people were jumping off and running and then falling over, and everybody stand on top of them.
That's crazy, isn't it?
But,
Yeah, I didn't realise it was that far. So, because you needed the river then, aren't you?
so Barrows Green area, so if you have a look on witness maps, there is Barrows Green is
Yeah.
where Fiddler's Ferry is and what have you. Yeah. So I've got some maps of some.
Do they go under the river?
Not here. No, we didn't go under the river that I know about. But certainly up in Northumberland and what have you, you know, on beaches there you can see the coal where they've been underneath. So a lot of this here now is, you know, just been buried in really.
Yeah. Yeah, so this has been built up, hasn't it?
Yeah,
this
yeah.
wasn't
So
this wasn't this high, was it?
No.
Yeah, it'll be pretty crazy when that goes, won't it?
Yeah, they're betting around January, don't they?
I tried to have a look online the other week, but I couldn't see an exact date.
Some saying December, January.
Right. And then, yeah, got me thinking, where's our
You can
electricity
see some
come?
of the dips in the fields where the subsidence.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a fault goes through middle of Sutton Manor there.
okay.
You know, just higher up than school.
Yeah,
You can see it, and there used to be houses in Milton Street that got knocked down because you could see where the fault went through.
all right.
Uh,
The faults, were they mainly sandstone or could it be anything? Yeah.
Mainly sandstone. I mean, I worked latter years. I worked on a face doing the maintenance of the hydraulic chocks that kept the roof up, and we was what they call it one afternoon cutting through, and I was on the same bonus as the pitmen basically.
Yeah.
So I used to help them. You know, if I didn't have any work, I'd help them bring the chocks in or move the chocks, or the cutter went through and I was bringing the chocks in behind the cutter, and the roof went.
Right.
And me and the cutter man jumped in the chock and sort of curled up. When it stopped falling, it was only sand stuff, like sandy stuff that was going in the chock, but the cutter was buried.
Right.
And we basically never that face we had to shorten it back by 40 chocks and leave the cutter there.
Yeah.
So they transported a new cutter down pit. Took them 3 months to get that face working again. So they had to basically do another tunnel away from this fault. Somebody had calculated wrong, and
Right.
so it just fell, and you could see like 20-30 foot above.
Wow.
And then they send the people on top of the shocks then to put like timber Jenga packs to try and
support it.
so everybody's quiet then, trying to make sure that there's no noise, and
Yeah.
because obviously any noise is an indication that something's gonna
Come down.
yeah.
And because Jim
You
was
wanna go that way or not?
yeah, we can do, yeah. Jim was telling me when he experienced, I think it was 2 collapsing Sutton, and he was saying more often than not it was like sand.
Yeah. As I say, there was a couple of big rocks that came, but the chocks did the job.
Yeah.
But like on top of the cutter and everything like that, there was a big pieces of sandstone, and as I say, it was that buried that much, and they couldn't sort of dig it out, or at the end decided to. And another time, as the chocks come in, your waste folds behind, so you basically cut out, say, 8 foot, 6 foot, or whatever.
Yeah.
So once you bring that chock in that's holding that roof up, that'll fall.
Right.
Yeah, and it falls jaggedly and whatever. It sort of fills that void, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Not as compactly as it was before, but
Yeah.
and for weeks it hadn't fell.
Right.
So behind the chocks, you'd shine your light, and it was like a football field length. And then all of a sudden, you could hear it creaking and whatnot,
Yeah.
and it just went
Straight down.
and it changed the air on the face, because obviously all that compression. Yeah.
That's crazy, isn't it?
But you know all about the tallies and things like that, about
Yeah.
brass and aluminium.
Yeah. Stuart said. I'm sure Stuart said brass and lead.
No, there was aluminium.
All right. Okay. Sure he said that.
With the lead, obviously, you get lead pouring off.
Yeah.
No, there was aluminium as such,
And then brass.
and then brass that you
Yeah.
put on your belt as such.
Yeah.
But let's say a good place to go is Housley.
Yeah. I know. I still need to go there. And then the
Manor Museum.
the national one,
Yeah.
Yorkshire one.
We do quite a few trips. We've not done one for about 3 months now, but we take youngsters over and what they call a minibus full like and go down pit there, because
You could go down, can't you?
Down
There, yeah.
they'll take you around and show you what it was like when kids worked down pits, what it was like when they had donkeys or ponies.
Yeah.
And then obviously mechanical, they've got quite a lot of cutters and old chocks, and so they've got like a made up space.
Right.
You can walk along it and see what it was like.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I
And
need to
then
go.
on the surface they've got loads of stuff as well.
This is the Yorkshire one, yeah?
That's the Yorkshire
Yeah.
one, yeah. I mean, they've got quite a bit at Housley, and they are making a what they call an imitation face,
Right.
but it'll be on the surface, obviously.
Yeah.
On the ground. Yeah. So, are these the posts, no?
No. But what are these?
These, originally when it opened, you could basically connect your phone to them, and they'd
I'll tell you about stuff.
yeah, give you an all guide basically.
Right.
But I don't think they work now.
No. And then, did they landscape this in the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, the Manor shut in 91. It was probably the end of the 90s then.
Right. Was this the last working one?
No, Parkside was after this.
Was it?
Yeah. Because a few lads from Manor went to Parkside. Ian Henderson, I don't know if you know Ian.
No.
He went to Parkside, but he hated it. I was fortunate that when they short tie, what they caught me next door neighbour was a club man, and I took it over his boot basically. He got promoted, and I
Right.
bought his boot and I went into financial services.
Yeah, I remember you saying. Clock Face, when did that shut?
That was 66.
Was it?
So if you go down here, we can get to
Yeah,
and then come
yeah,
down.
that's fine.
Those them thingies, are they
I don't know. They're round the other side, so
We'll find them out way back then.
yeah, they're near the gates.
66. Clockface shut because of water, really. Because it was a very watery pit. I mean, when they first sunk it, they had problems, and apparently they brought a firm in that froze the bottom of the,
Wow.
so they could put metal. So they actually
Froze the water.
froze the water while they managed to encase the shaft.
Wow.
If you read about, I mean, Sutton Beauty, I know you've probably been on Sutton.
Yeah,
Beauty,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
got quite a lot of information on there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But yeah, 66, but even though it was 66, from the pit here, fitters used to go every so many days across to Clockface to service the pumps somewhere, because the pumps used to pump water out, and it was sold to St Helens Corporation.
Right.
So your reservoir up near Toll Bar there near Knowsley Safari Park
Yeah.
used to be connected through. They
Right.
used to put, because it was good quality water that they was ringing up basically.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Wow. So, because they're so close, this and Clock Face.
Yeah.
Is there any crossover between them?
I don't know of any that we mined any of their coal, but we must have mined some of their coal that they didn't get to after it shut at 66.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. As you went down the Manor, there was where the man riding was, and then you started walking in the tunnel. There was a tunnel there that was basically capped off, and I don't know the ins and outs of it, but there was a fire behind there.
Right.
Now, somebody said that was going towards Clock Face, but you know, there's an awful lot of water down Clock Face, you know.
Yeah.
But they had to stem the face, build a brick wall, and what the car, because obviously of heating combustion behind.
If there was ever a fire down, did they put that out, or did they sometimes just let it kind of burn out, or what?
No, they would try to put it out, and there'd be different ways. I mean, obviously, you'd have different types of stuff to extinguish, but you know, obviously you need oxygen for your fire.
Yeah.
So if they can seal that,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
seal
Then
it off.
obviously, so they'd seal it off, and then they'd pump basically like a stemming stuff, and you know,
Right.
and then you'd have a machine where you could basically, you get bags of like cement,
Yeah.
and it'd mix it, and then you'd blast it onto walls.
Right,
and
I see.
They come from St Teresa's.
What, St Teresa's in?
This one here, not the one.
Oh,
in
right,
Battery.
I was going to say.
Oh, St Teresa's down at the bottom there. Apparently, when they knocked part of the school down, the kids had a bit of a garden there, and they wanted it bringing over here, so
Wow.
people that think he brought it over here, but we keep bringing them out. I mean, we had it that's stood up there and whatever, because
People keep moving it.
keep moving it. It's not net like 1926 or something.
Yeah, because I noticed that the other day, and I was thinking, what's that doing there?
Yeah, so originally, before the trees took over, there was flowers with it and different things like that. So
Right.
so the children that had the garden over at school, when they knocked part of it down, wanted it reciting. So
Right, I see.
that's where it came over here.
Right.
Must have been a similar time of when this was being built, really.
Yeah. Where are they with the club now?
Oh,
The ongoing saga.
yeah. He's apparently got a planning permission now to do. He's making it into some offices and things like that. I mean, I am talking to him, and I have been all the way through, but
Wow,
I just think that
offices.
they're missing a trick, really. But,
That's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, the thing with the club was that the club was sold before the pit shut,
Yeah, I know. I remember
Tommy
you
Smith.
saying. Yeah.
and then Tommy Smith, being a footballer, took all the topsoil off the football pitch and put the hardcore down. You think he wants his Sunday markets, and you think that
Is that what he thought? Yeah.
he was
Right.
going to do Sunday markets on there.
Wow. And that never materialised. No.
I mean, he put topsoil down there, hardcore down there, but was it that, or was it, a way of getting the backhand off a builder,
Yeah.
you can get rid of your hardcore here.
Yeah. It's such a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's no talk of any kind of like heritage kind of like
We keep talking
centre or
to them, and
anything.
we are, what do you call it, we're looking for a place, because we've got quite a lot of memorabilia. We've got quite a lot at Lancashire.
Yeah.
We've got loads in my garage, Paul's garage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as of yet, I mean, the other one is obviously St Michael's Church there, because that's,
Right.
we've heard on the grapevine that's ready for going as well, because they're building houses on that.
Yeah.
thing,
So yeah. Is that staying then, or the
At
church?
the moment, I've been told there's 2 years before it would be reviewed again, because they're getting rid of St Nicholas's community centre out there. St Nick's up at New Street. The church is okay, but the community centre's not being used by enough church people, but it's being used by the community. Which.
I know, it's a shame that pub went as well, wasn't it? It was a lovely building, that, wasn't it?
Great Green Dragon, So, I mean, he's talking now about whether to put a cafe in the green there, but there's an awful lot of money needs spending on it first. And, he has come back to me and said, well, can you provide any artefacts and things like that? Yes, to a certain degree, but, obviously we want some guarantee that they're not.
It's not just going to be like part of the decor, and there's going to be some proper recognition of it.
Yeah. I mean, we've got the actual trophy cabinet out this smithy. You'll ever go in and get it. It's got something like Housley on and all that, but all the trophies have gone. So I am on favourable terms with talking, and he was. If we could have raised the money, he would have sold us some of the land, or even sold us the smithy at one point, but he wants too much. He basically thinks he can put so many houses there, and it's recreational land. So
what's the council's take on it? So can it go for commercial purposes, or?
I mean, it was given that. It was given by the guy, Michael Hughes, and a couple of other. So the land were given to the miners for recreational purposes, and as far as I know in the deeds, it's got to be used for recreational purposes. So the council take is that it's green belt. But there's green belt and there's green there's 2 different levels of green belt. So, but he thinks. He could get 24 houses on there. So he's valuing it at millions.
Like they do.
So this was the railway line along here.
If
you go further down,
where
you can see it dipping, it used to be down there really. This been built up.
Yeah, because I've been down the path, the path that takes you to the garden centre.
And there's some notice boards and that tells you that. But here they used to branch round and go to Clockface. So if you go down Clockface Road, you can see where the bridge was. So the footings there where you come in from Clockface Road. You can see where that used to be a bridge that went over the top of it.
Okay. And it's because that explains the kind of raised bit here.
And the same on Walker's Lane. I was telling you, there used to be a bridge there. Where the pumping station is to go across the Roughtails.
Because then you follow that path now, don't you? And then that takes you to that fishing lake, doesn't it?
Yeah. If you look at all maps, there used to probably about 6 or 7 lines here. And then one time it used to run straight through also, and you could get
and then you go around.
shooting sheds at again Peasley Cross.
Yeah. And then it goes through to round town, doesn't it? Yeah.
So this wasn't here.
No.
But over the top there was a lagoon.
Right.
It used to all be fenced off and what have you. But it's like a slurry pit basically, so water from down pit there's pumping and they'd let it settle.
Right. Yeah, because last time I came over here, here's one.
Yeah, they are just basically, they'll have been either markers for gas testing, but there's no thingy on that, that's just been capped, but they can always come along and put a plug in there and what they call,
and then do a test.
Yeah, or it may have just been for levels when there was landscaping.
Yeah,
or it could be to indicate there's a valve to that.
Right,
the water that comes
just
through
like
there,
markings.
the swim. There's a stream down the back there, and pipe comes through there.
Yeah. Right.
It may be something along them lines, but
right.
Usually, if they got a tap on them, there will be gas sampling.
Yeah, because like I say, them ones at Wooden Line Pit.
Wooden Line Pit,
Oh,
yeah.
they stink.
I've never been round there. I'll have to go for a walk.
It's good. It's good. It's like it's really nice as you go down the Brute, as like you go through, you pass Earlstown and then you carry on towards Newton, and it dips down, and there's the garage to the right. Yeah. Well, just in there, if you go in that bit, there's like 3 really nice little fishing lakes. Yeah, it's really nice.
I've been on the big one there where they've got the big plug hole.
The one at the top?
Yeah, Newton Lake there. I've been through there because I walked around the boundary last year.
Oh, right, yeah.
I didn't do it in a day like they do, but I did it over a week. I went to some places that I definitely knew.
I know, well, I was the same when I went over there. I was like, so there's this Ron Hassel pool at the top.
Yeah.
And that's really nice. And then to the side, they've left like it's like a little slag heap there, and they've left that. I don't know why they left it. Yeah. Because everything else is landscaped. Everything else is like this.
Yeah.
So whether it was to kind of like just to expose some of the old sites, I'm not really sure. But
I hadn't been down. I've had a flashes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And part of the route takes you down there, and then you come through to Newton that way.
Yeah, right.
And then you go round back end over the 62, over the motorway 62 is it, or 6? No, it's M6 isn't it?
Yeah.
And then up to Billings that way, Garswood.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Well, you just don't know when it's on your doorstep, and
then the Coach Road coming back from Rainford.
Yeah.
I'd never been down there.
Yeah. Got down there on my bike quite a bit.
Yeah.
So this was just a dumping ground as well. Yeah,
and I mean the other 2 or 3 years ago we did find, and it looked like there was a piece of metal near where the Dream was, and what the car were. Every time we walked past it we thought that looks like a tub.
Yeah.
And there's a tub outside Sutton Manor School over the top of where they used to put the coal down. There's a tub from Sutton Manor there. So this one day we said, right, we'll come across and we'll have a bit of a dig, and see. We dug it out, and it was a pit relic thing.
Yeah.
It was a strut really that they used to connect the rings together, but it wasn't the tub that we thought it was going to be. So unfortunately
there isn't anything really now.
But as I say, if you go around Bowl, behind the offices, that's a difference.
Yeah.
Albeit it's full of trees now, and a lot of the roots will have.
I know. Well, I went round there with Stuart, and he was like, he got lost, and then there was this guy who was walking his dog, and he said, "Oh no, it's round there," so because we were looking for the shaft caps. And then I went round like a week later, couldn't find them. Don't know where they'd gone. So yeah, it's a bit of a maze back there, because that bit at the top, he was saying to me, like where that lake is at the top, he was like that was just a dumping ground. So that wasn't anything to do with the workings of it. And obviously the power station was where the housing estate is.
Going down. I mean, I've got a photograph where the town ground played on Otten Road, and you can see the cooling towers. You can touch them. They was that close. And nowadays you won't be allowed to build it so close, would you?
No, I know. Because I was saying, did the two mix, like the workers from the power station and the colliery? It was like, no, not at all. They said it's just two completely separate things.
Did they tell you about the steps at Sutton Station there?
No.
Yeah, if you go to Sutton Station and you're going down from where the power station used to be, or the corner there, you go down into Sutton. Just before the bridge there's a set of steps.
Right.
And they're separate steps. There used to be for the pitmen. So there used to be a train went from there to Bold.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see the markings on the stone and what you're in.
Right.
these little flies.
So these big,
Yeah, they would have been similar to. They would have been used as the end, you know, where the head gears was and things like that.
Right,
where the fingers are coming down,
Yeah.
and they may be from here.
but you
They
don't
may
know.
not, but we
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, there was
Yeah.
one there with a square hole in, so it may have had a girder coming out of it or something like that. But I don't know for definite that they're from here. I would say they probably are, and they've not been moved around, and they've probably been put on one side, then they've landscaped, and then they've just scattered them around. You know what I mean? Well, like, all along there used to be a stream all the way along that was coloured, like rust coloured, where the oxide out there. And you can see that in the stream around the back there sometimes. You can see the oxidation where some of the pipes are still feeding water in from.
Yeah.
So this would have been used, this part here, this hard standing, in the early days of the pit, really, before the big land sale, because Sutton Manor used to have coal coming in from all different pits, so we'd have all different grades of coal, so it used to be like a land sale for different, or distribution from different pits.
Okay.
So they had a big land sale at the front there, where opposite the garage, but this would have been where they bagged the coal for, like, coal bag, you know.
Right, I see.
So you'd have the hoppers that, you know, JCB had filled the hopper, then you'd have a fellow underneath, you know, pressing the pedal and filling the coal up.